Hello everyone, and welcome to Mysterious Mountains Site Review 1. This is a site review of a mountainside that borders a river. From the river, the mountain climbs up to 1,600 feet, and the stonework that you're going to be seeing is just a small portion of the mountain itself. Let's just jump right into the review. Starting off at a large outcrop of bedrock. This is very common on this mountainside. It is very rocky and rugged, but connected to this rocky mountainside is a stone wall. This stone wall runs away from the bedrock, and it incorporates boulders, goes over a little stream right there, and it keeps continuing up over this larger boulder. This larger boulder could possibly be a serpent effigy, which is a common aspect of the stonework in this area and a common feature within ceremonial stone landscapes created by the indigenous people of the area. Another common feature of those serpent effigies is orange quartz. That is a common feature for serpent effigies. You will find one of these nearby. Doug Harris, who is a tribal historical leader down in Rhode Island, has mentioned that in a few presentations that in serpent effigies, this kind of stone is usually nearby. Further down from that same wall, there is a road. This road was created by removing some of the stones in the stone wall, as you can see right here. Someone just took the stones and tossed them to the side in order to create that road. On the opposite side of that road, the stonework is undisturbed, keeps going across the landscape up over some more bedrock or a boulder, hard to say. In front of the stone wall is a large dead tree that is growing on top of a peculiar kind of right-angled large boulder, ski pole for scale. From here, the stonework enters into a power line. From the power line, you can see the ruggedness of the landscape and all the stones and boulders that sits on the landscape itself. The stone wall continues incorporating these large boulders, as right there, coming back down this way to this large boulder right there that kind of comes to a point, and the stonework goes right on down the mountainside. Looking back to where the stonework comes out, across the power line, and into the forest on the opposite side of the power line. This is a close-up of that stonework on the power line. You can see quartz incorporated with the stonework yet again. A common feature is a stone like this that seems to be encircled with more stonework. That's a peculiar feature that you see among this landscape and in these kind of constructions. It's a common feature. And actually, one second, I can show you more of it. One right there. Right there, you can see similar stonework. As well, in this landscape, there's multiple boulders that have stone piles on top of them, such as this. This is the opposite side of the power line, entering back into the forest. The stone wall continues, incorporating boulders, and you can see where the stonework is sitting on top of large boulders or bedrock. It is much taller. My guess is that because of the firm foundation it's on, it does not collapse or decay over time. As you can see where it sits on the ground, it has crumbled down and decayed. More large boulders supporting the stone wall Another kind of orange quartz right there. This could again be a serpent effigy stone right there. As you can see, orange quartz and a large stone incorporated with it. This is looking back up towards the power line, and the wall again incorporates large boulders as it climbs up and over them. And above this, over in this direction, to this large boulder that appears to be perched up by this smaller boulder. And this seems to be pointing towards this one as well. It could be perched. It's sitting on bedrock right there. And this one up here has an odd indentation right there. Here's that a close-up of the stone underneath. You can see there's a gap. It's sitting on bedrock. Around here, people find these, and geologists call them natural formations, but there's a lot of them, and some of them are completely freestanding, and some of them are kind of like this, kind of perched by one stone. But it's just kind of odd that this one's kind of pointing towards this one right here with all this other stonework within the landscape. On the opposite side of these two large boulders is this bedrock. On top of this bedrock is a small stone circle that has a standing stone right here, some quartz right here, and a large boulder right here that could possibly be used as a seat, which is what I did when I first went up to visit this area. I sat down not knowing that I was sitting on something that could have been placed to tie in with this. This is the stone circle with the standing stone right there and the large quartz right there. This is sitting on top of the bedrock, as you can see right there. It's hard to say how old this is. There's no signs of any fire ever being lit within the stone circle. A lot of people think it's a fire pit, but there's no signs of a fire. From here, going up, further up the mountain, this is not the top of the mountain, but this is kind of a plateau almost at the top of the mountain. And what's interesting here is this kind of right angle right here, cut line, it looks like a cut line almost, to another right angle, and this is very rounded over. But you don't see any glacial marks on it. There's no scarring of what you would see typically on a mountaintop. Next photo is from right here. You can see the difference of landscapes. This is where those right angles are, and this is more what you would expect to see on top of a mountain, just a jumble of boulders and bedrock. It's hard to say why this looks like this, but it's very interesting and something that you usually don't see on top of a mountain in New England. From this kind of high point of the mountain, there's a stone wall that runs down this way. It starts roughly right here, goes down into this gully. A dead tree goes over it. That is the same dead tree. Looking back where it starts, you can see it just starts right there and continues right down the mountain. I'm not sure what that is. A lot of these stone walls in this area are used as property dividers. It could be a property marker, but my question is, what came first, the property or the stonework? As you'll see, this stone wall really does not make sense for the amount of labor that would be necessary to build it just for a property divider. It continues down, and this is kind of a nice little feature right here. Next photo shows more of it. As you can see, it kind of flows along with the landscape. It sits on very flat stones, and it has a flowing motion to it, almost like it was created as artwork. Further down, you start seeing quartz once again in the walls. Like that little chunk of quartz right there does not look like it's really doing anything. As to support, there's more quartz right there. Further down, larger stones start to be incorporated within the wall. Ski pole for scale to show you the size of the stones. And more quartz. And this is where it gets really interesting. That is a boulder. That's a boulder, and that is most likely bedrock. That is just a lot of effort that would be needed to create this wall. And again, it does not fight the landscape, it moves along with it. The bedrock drops down right here, and again, that's more of those right angles up on top, which again, kind of weird. And some more quartz right there, right there. And the stone wall keeps going down, incorporating the bedrock. As you can see, it's very well built, and it has not really decayed because it has a firm foundation. And it hasn't really been buried because it's sitting so much higher than the ground level itself. It flows right down. And again, another piece of placed quartz that it doesn't really support the wall, but it's there. More large boulders. And this is all quartz right here. That's a giant quartz boulder holding up this wall. From here, the land became posted, so I didn't continue down the mountain following the wall, but I have a feeling it's just more of the same large stone work like this. This is down near the riverbank at the base of the mountain. This area has a lot of the possible megalithic work. As you can see, there's a large chunk of quartz right in the middle of this boulder. I'm not saying this one's megalithic, I'm just kind of saying there's a lot of quartz, and it definitely seems that the quartz is recognized and the stonework is around this kind of material. Another prop boulder that's pointed by a large boulder below. Same one. As you can see, it comes to a point and it's propped up by a smaller boulder, just like the one further up the mountain. Some more quartz, keys for scale, just kind of a odd stone just laying within the landscape. More quartz on a large boulder. It's a quartz vein. This is a very large boulder, and it seems to have a face on it. Natural, man-made, hard to say, most likely natural, but it's again within this landscape that is a possible large ceremonial stone landscape. So something like this would probably not have been missed by someone walking by, because I noticed it and took a photo of it. Right next to this large boulder with a natural face is a possible whale effigy. It kind of looks like this was notched in order to drop this. There's a stone down here that seems to be holding up, propping this bottom of the mouth. As you can see, there's stones there, and it kind of looks like they were placed there to keep this in place. This is a little bit further down near the riverside. Again, large boulder with stonework going up and over it. More stonework on top of boulders. And this is a zoom out of that little area. You can see a lot of decay in this one area, because my guess is near the bottom of the mountain, and years and years and years of snowmelt and rain has just washed away this particular wall. You can see a little stonework in between the large boulders. And right next to the road is a possible serpent effigy. As you can see, a large boulder, kind of snake-like head, and stonework leading away from it, going up the mountainside. This is another perch boulder with a smaller boulder holding it up. And this one kind of has a ringed stones placed below it, as you can see right there. Looks like a few of them have been washed away, but it definitely looks like they were placed in order from like small to larger. And this boulder is pointing to the river, to this feature in the river. And this feature kind of looks like a hand. So much so, someone took the time to put nail polish onto it. So yeah, that is just a site review of one little aspect of a mountainside that goes right down to the river and some odd features in the river itself.